What is up, bros? I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we are a couple of bros on a mission to give you guys the most detailed movie Freaking struggling talking
Starting
today, dude.
strong.
I know. The most detailed movie reviews out there with as little bias as possible. Welcome to the All Bros. This week on the podcast, we have nothing in 4K Spotlight. And through the wall, we have one bit of news. Nothing too major. It's kind of been a slow news week, at least with anything that's caught our attention. So once we cover that, we will be getting straight into this week's headliner, which will be our breakdown of Spoiler Alert. So without further ado, let's say we get into this.
Hello, my name is Brucker Nurse, and I want to tell you about my fun horror movie podcast called Autopsy of a Horror Movie. On my show, I like to have fun dissecting out what makes a horror movie scary, what worked for it, what didn't, what types of fears does it play off of. Is it an allegory for any sort of message? I don't know, but let's find out. Also, I like to watch slashers. I'm a big slasher guy, so I'll watch a slasher and do a kill grade for it. I will cover the kills and I will tell you how I would grade it based on shock, method, style points, and a fourth category that is a reflection of the movie. Besides those, I'll have fun with special topic episodes, commentary tracks, interviews with guests, including some Shudder directors, so I just like to have a fun time over here. If any of this sounds interesting to you or you just want to come check me out, please head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere they listen to podcasts and search for Autopsy of a Horror Movie. Also be sure to find me on Instagram at Brucker Horror, where you get fun updates and some cool little posts that I do. Thanks for listening, and I hope that you get to enjoy the show, and I'll see you on Instagram. Bye.
Alrighty, getting into our Through the Wall segment. The Super Mario Brothers movie got pushed a little bit.
But in a good way.
It got pushed in a good direction. So instead of it coming out on a Friday, like you would think, it's getting released on Wednesday. Yeah, so just a couple days earlier than it was supposed to.
I'm wondering if anything else is coming out that weekend, so they kind of want to try to get a head start.
Yeah, that's an interesting move. A bold move, if I do say so myself.
No, I agree. That is a very bold move. Now I'm curious on if anything else opens April 7th.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing.
Interesting.
So, who knows what the hell?
Okay. Guess you do you, Illumination and Universal.
Yeah, they're seriously, that weekend, there's nothing. There's a movie called Paint. There's it looks like a documentary about Chucky, which kind of looks cool.
Oh, yeah. I want to check that out.
Yeah, so I don't know what this is all about, but
whatever. I mean, now we get to see it even earlier, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I'm looking the rest of the month, too. There's freaking nothing.
Okay, that's cool that it gets the whole month to itself. I don't know, maybe they just want to have as strong of an open... Wait. No, that would still count. Never mind.
What?
No, I was going to say, maybe they just wanted to have a strong opening, as much of a strong opening as they can, but for a second I'm like, wait, they don't count Wednesday and Thursday, but yes, they do.
Yeah, so whatever the move, or this move was for, it does not make any sense because this is seriously the biggest release of the month. At least in my eyes, I feel like I don't see anything else that's standing out as a big release of the month. The only other movie that I would even think maybe would be this Big George Foreman, which that doesn't come out until the 28th of April. Something I don't assume is going to be very well received is Peter Pan and Wendy. But that gets released on Disney Plus. So I don't know what the motivation behind this move was. If anything. It seems odd.
It does.
So, I mean, they have a whole month to just freaking dominate the box office. So,
Yes, they do.
I mean, we'll see what this is all about. But, I mean, still excited for the movie.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. Like, there hasn't been a single thing that's gotten released about this movie that I haven't liked in some way.
Same.
So yeah, unless you have anything else to add about that.
No, I got nothing.
All right, well, let's say we move on to this week's headliner.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, this week's headliner, like we said, will be our breakdown of a spoiler alert, which you can find on Peacock right now. It does, so don't let the cover of this movie fool you. It looks like this could, I was expecting a lot more holiday theme from this movie, just based off of the cover, because it's like them underneath a Christmas tree. It has Christmas in it, but it's not, I wouldn't call this a Christmas movie by any means.
No, I wouldn't either. I like how they transition. I love the transition of this, of how they start taking like a Christmas picture together, and that's how you transition through them spending like, what is it, like 9 years together? Something around that.
So they're together for 13 years.
Okay. So
And then
during
like,
when they first start taking, sorry, go ahead.
no, so yeah, it's so the way that it goes, it's like from their first meeting to their first Christmas together, and then from that Christmas they do the Christmas cards, or the next like 13 Christmas cards.
Okay, yeah.
Until they're at that party, and then it's from that Christmas to their last Christmas.
Okay. Because I felt that was a very creative way to do a time jump.
Dude, it was an excellent way to do a time jump.
Yeah.
Like, I think we'll get into it, but I think they handled that perfectly.
Oh, I agree.
But first, before we get into this breakdown, we actually asked a question of the week this week, and we actually got some responses.
Wow.
Yeah, so for those of you that follow us on TikTok, we do post a question of the week every once in a while. We're trying to get better about it, just because we've been out of practice, and coming up with questions is hard.
It's true. It's very true.
So the question that we asked this week in regards to spoiler alert was what sort of, or what media had been spoiled for you? And we got some devastating answers. All right, first up, we got a response from Chunky Radu 68, who said Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks.
Dude, that sucks so bad. But Spider-Man I don't know what was spoiled for him, but I think Spider-Man No Way Home was the worst kept secret in MCU history.
Dude, seriously. God freaking. Okay, it's like, spoiler alert here if none of you have seen it yet, or some of you haven't seen it yet, which would. The whole. Remember when that image of Andrew Garfield leaked, and he just kept trying to play it off? Oh no, someone made that in Photoshop. I'm like, dude, come on. And then that leak of all three of them right next to each other. It's like,
you're not bullshitting your way out of this one, man.
No, that looked too real.
Dude, the MCU just needs to freaking own up. Like, do what DC... Like, James Gunn... I feel James Gunn's handling the DC perfectly. Like, people ask questions, like, oh, is this canon, or blah, blah, like, just random questions, and he'll, like, straight up say yes, no, or
Yeah,
whatever.
I love
Like,
that.
he is so transparent, and it is great.
It really is.
So I hope that Warner Brothers allows him to keep that up.
I do too.
But yeah, for you, Chunky Radio, we feel you. That freaking blows. Next up, we got a response from iTechnoSway. I think that's how you say it. I'm guessing because it looks like it could be Eknosway. I don't know. I'm just gonna say iTechnoSway. They said, I remember when Avengers Age of Ultron was spoiled for me by my frickin' brother.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
That would be horrible. Spoiling Avengers movies is a cardinal sin in my book. Like, I will disown anyone if they spoil a Marvel movie for me. Like, no joke. There's a website that spoiled... Actually, it wasn't even like a proper spoiler. So it actually ended up being a false spoiler. But a website that I came across on I think it was Google. It might have been Google. It might have been Facebook. But whatever. I still have that website blocked to this day.
Damn.
Yeah, like, you only get one shot. You spoil something for me, I will disown you. So, I responded to most of these, like the ones that I could. I did say betrayal by family can be a tough one to get over, and they said, which is why one day he'll get what he deserves.
I love it.
Yeah, same here.
He'll just have to spoil Kang Dynasty for his brother.
Oh, dude. That revenge would be rough.
Yeah, but it'd be sweet revenge.
All right, the next response we got was from the Sigma Chucky, not Chunky, the Sigma Chucky. So this was more in response to saying that we were going to break down Ant-Man, and just said, should I watch it or not? And I ended up tagging...
Gotta listen to the episode.
Yeah, so I think I ended up tagging them in the recommendation for Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
But still, we appreciate your response. All right, next we got... Oh my gosh. I don't even know how to say it. Tolas 3 Amy Bien Loco. I will tag people in a post, like everyone that responded, but your names are difficult. But they said, I was spoiled about who MODOK actually was in Quantumania.
Okay, yeah, that does suck.
Yeah,
Although I
feel you there.
I don't know. I felt that, I don't know, for the longest time I felt that was just like floating around the internet that it was going to be Darren. So like I kind of like really believed that it was going to happen, so that just, I don't know. I felt that was spoiled for me months before the movie came out.
Yeah, it was another one of those not super well kept secrets. I think it's just
True.
Also everyone just assumed that's what the case was.
That's a good point.
But yeah, anyway, still, regardless, that freaking sucks.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All right, moving on. We have a response from turbulent_edits, who said, I was spoiled about literally every death in Breaking Bad. So whenever someone died, I was just looking at the TV with no shock.
I've never seen Breaking Bad, and I'm sorry to say I don't have any intention to watch it, but that does suck. I'm very sorry.
Dude,
Death spoiled for you? That's bullshit.
Yeah. Especially, like, if you know how people are going to die, like, that just is rough. Because there's some deaths that are just so shocking in that show
Yeah.
that it leaves an impression on you. Is there any particular reason you're not wanting to watch?
I don't know. Not really. Just this show doesn't really interest me. Like, don't Bryan Cranston sounds like he's amazing in the show. Just it's never really caught my attention. Got nothing against it.
We'll have to chat because I think, I was super hesitant about watching Breaking Bad for the longest time. But once I started watching it, I got hooked.
Okay.
It was a really, really well done show. Like, especially when you start getting into like the thick of it. It's freaking nuts. They do it's so cool because they have a whole season dedicated where you get these little bits and pieces of events that lead up to just like a catastrophic event in the series. But it's so cool because it's just these tiny little lead ups, and they put just a little focus on this random shit that's happening, and then it's just boom, catastrophe happens. It's friggin' nuts the way that they handle it. I think you'd really enjoy the show, but I would have to I would need to discuss with you some of your other TV show tastes, because I know you tend to lean more towards lighthearted comedy, like Superstore or The Office.
The Last of Us is the first that kind of show that I've actually been very invested in.
Okay. I would dare say that Breaking Bad as a whole is pretty on par with the quality of The Last of Us. Okay. Obviously, there are some episodes that are better than others. But I mean, overall, I think the seasons are really good.
Okay.
So I would recommend it. If you just come across it one time, I'd say just give it a shot. First 2 episodes I think could get you.
Okay.
And then our last one is from our good friend DJ at The Untrained Eye. And his, I say for last because his probably stings the most. He said, Endgame. That is all.
Why did I have a feeling it was going to be that one?
Dude, I don't know what's worse, to have Endgame spoiled or to have Infinity War spoiled.
Both. Can I choose both as my answer?
I know, but Endgame, dude, could you imagine?
No, dude. There was I think this was an hour or so before we went and saw it. There was a Snapchat story that I saw and it just had a picture of Black Widow. And I'm trying to remember the tagline. It said, I think it said why this character was done dirty in Avengers Endgame. What the hell does that mean? I didn't really think much into it. And then we went and saw it, and I'm just like, that freaking Snapchat almost spoiled Endgame for me.
Dude, I go on a social media hiatus as soon as I hear that people can release their critiques.
Dude, I don't blame you.
Yeah, absolutely not. You will not catch me slipping like that. And yeah, so that is all the responses that we got. So thank you, everyone that sent a response. I will try my hardest to find a way to tag everyone in a post for this, so you guys can look forward to that. But with that, let's get into this breakdown. So if you are new to... Sorry, I just discovered there's a hole in my shirt.
Oh, that's nice.
If you are new to our breakdown system, we have split movies into 8 different categories that we individually score to come to a final All Bros letter grade. The 8 categories that we score are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we give it our own personal score at the very end. All of those numbers get magically added up and spit through our algorithm and gives us a letter grade to compare this movie to others of a similar grade, as well as a percentage so we can see a ranking of these movies. The ranking isn't super important, or is not as important as the letter grade, but we do like to see the rankings, so that's more just for fun. So with that, if you have not seen, spoiler alert.
You've been waiting to do that, haven't you?
Dude, I've been waiting so long. That's why I got a little giddy that
Oh my god.
that I was leading this episode.
Oh shit.
Oh. Anyway, so yes, if you have not seen this movie, Rose is about to read the entire synopsis of this film and spoil it all for you if you have not seen it. Like we said earlier, you can check this movie out right now. It is available on Peacock. So if you have that service, please go give it a watch.
Or you can buy it on Blu-ray. That's always an option. You know, support physical media.
Woo! Yeah, I guess that's an option now.
Well, Caleb just ended up on my list.
So with that, it is time for everyone's favorite segment, Reading with Rose, with 2 E's.
You always have to add that, don't you?
Yes.
All right. The film opens with Kit Cohen trying. Jesus, God damn it. Okay. Take 2. Already off to a strong start. The film opens with Kit Cohen dying in the arms of his husband, Michael Ausiello, following his 11-month battle with terminal cancer. The story, told through Michael, details their 14-year relationship leading up to Kit's death. In 2001, Michael, a writer for TV Guide, is brought to a gay nightclub by his best friend in Manhattan. There, he meets Kit, a photographer, and the two instantly connect. As they begin dating, Michael struggles with his insecurities of being informally overweight and not being attractive enough for Kit. Kit reveals that he had an affair with a man at the gym. They both admit their fears of being in a long-term relationship since neither of them had been in one before, but they decide to continue dating each other. During their first Christmas together, Kit gives Michael his own closet space at his apartment, inviting Michael to live with him. In 2002, Kit gets an appendectomy. I think that's how you pronounce that word. His parents, Bob and Marilyn, come to Manhattan. Not out to them, Kit asks Michael to clean the apartment of anything gay and all evidence of their relationship. Upon returning to Kit's place, Marilyn grows suspicious of Michael after she incessantly, that's the word, interrogates the two men. Kit comes out to his parents and reveals that Michael is his boyfriend. While initially upset that Kit could not admit this to her, Marilyn is accepting and welcomes Michael. Michael and Kit continue their relationship and get a townhouse together. During their second Christmas, Michael invites Kit to lie under the Christmas tree with him as he did when he was a child and explains it was always a fantasy of his to do it every year with his partner. In 2013, Michael and Kit develop complications in their relationship as their sex life deteriorates. Michael spends too much time with his company TV line and becomes an alcoholic. Kit struggles with a marijuana addiction and infidelity, and Michael suspects he is having an affair with his coworker, Sebastian. Their therapist believes they now resent each other but still love each other too much to end it and suggests that they separate to reassess their feelings. Kit moves out, but the two remain in their relationship. During their Christmas party, Kit begins showing signs of health concerns and learns he has a tumor in his rectum. Michael, still traumatized by his mother's death from cancer, lets Kit move back in. In 2014, Michael and Kit learn from their oncologist that Kit has a rare form of stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer, and Michael supports Kit as he undergoes a failed round of chemotherapy and soon after radiation therapy. 11 months later, a seemingly recovered Kit goes on a vacation to Ocean City with Michael, Bob, and Marilyn, but his health worsens and the oncologist reveals that the radiation treatment has failed and Kit has 6 weeks left to live. That night, Michael apologizes for not letting Kit know how beautiful he was due to his fears of being left for a more attractive man. Kit apologizes to Michael for having an affair with Sebastian. After Michael smokes marijuana with Kit for the first time, Kit proposes to Michael and they marry the next day. Michael and Kit spend one more Christmas together, during which Michael has a dream of himself and Kit growing old and laying under the Christmas tree. In 2015, Kit is taken into the hospital. There, Michael allows Sebastian to say goodbye to Kit. As Kit is dying, Michael fantasizes of interviewing Kit as if he were a departing actor whose character is being killed off, where Kit expresses gratitude for his past and is looking forward to the future. Michael asks Kit what he should do, and Kit replies that he will have to figure it out. Back in reality, Michael thanks Kit for giving him a family and tells him it is okay to go. Kit dies with Michael and his parents with him. Michael continues to be a part of Bob and Marilyn's lives after Kit's death. Michael prepares to leave New York for Los Angeles, and although he is nervous to start this new journey, he remembers how brave he was to begin his adventure with Kit.
This movie was so freaking beautiful.
It was. I love... this isn't a simple love story, but I just love stories like this. It sucks that it had to end like it did, and oh my god, like the tears they were flowing, but the adventure that we went through to get to that ending was remarkable.
Dude, absolutely. I, again, am not ashamed to admit, I freaking was just, I wasn't weeping, but
Way to put me on spotlight. I was.
Oh, dude, it was bad though. Well, so Iris usually does, she likes to sleep on our bed when she naps.
Oh, okay.
But for whatever reason, she came and crawled into my lap to take a nap. Aww. And so she was napping on my lap. Brielle had just taken off to go to the store. And so I was just sitting there watching it, and it was at the sad moment when Brielle was leaving, and I was just like, hurry up, get out the door. And then as soon as she left, I was like, ah. It was just, dude, shit like that hits me so hard. I mean, hell, this might be my bias showing, but the story doesn't even need to be that good. If you not saying that this story in this is bad or anything, it's just damn, it doesn't even need to be that good, and I'll freaking be in tears. If I get too into a movie, but it's just what this story was able to do, and I feel really accurately portrayed a relationship. It's I appreciated that it was around 13 years where they started having issues and needed to separate, and I feel that's a long time in relationship terms, but not so long where it's oh, these people should be really old, but it was just kind of a perfect, and I know this was based on a true story, so it's hard to judge the story oh, how well it was written, but because someone actually lived it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it was just, it was so well done. Every single aspect to this was just incredible, and it had so much heart. It did so well at getting you inside the psyche of Michael, and how he viewed his life, where he's oh, I always viewed my childhood as a sitcom, and so you get to see those bits and pieces of sitcom that were really interesting, but also just kind of hauntingly dark in a way.
Except for the whole what's a matter, baby joke that his brother did.
Yeah, that was so dumb. But yeah, it was a really well told story, and I really liked how they, like, I know that this is just kind of part of so this movie is based off of a book called, spoiler alert, The Hero Dies. And so this is like the life story of Michael Ausiello and his partner Kit Cohen. And this is something that I feel I've heard a lot of people complain about, where a story is predictable. And how, like, oh, you always know what's going to happen, like you know they're going to end up together, like in a rom-com, like you know what's going to happen, like you know what the ultimate goal is, you know that these people are going to accomplish it, blah blah blah, like what's the point of it is where I'm getting, like, people have that issue. And I feel like I'm such a different movie watcher, because I don't give a shit where we're going. I care about how we get there. And this movie, starting off with Kit dying, just it closed off like any idea of where we thought this was going to go. It's like, this is where it ends. Here's how we got there. And I love that.
Same here.
Like, I love when it
be like that.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know. Like, like I said, I've heard complaints from different people, like movie watchers, that are just like, oh, I knew exactly where the story was going, so it just ended up being kind of lame. Like, no, you freaking just suck at watching movies.
I feel that there's nothing wrong with a predictable story.
No, if it's told well,
yeah,
like, there's nothing wrong with a predictable story. And with this, like, you didn't have to do any predicting, so those assholes can go shove it.
Yes, they can.
So yeah, I appreciated the hell out of that, and how, like I said, realistic this relationship felt.
So good.
Yeah, and that's just an acting credit, so we'll eventually get to that. But the story of their first year together, like up to their first Christmas, to or technically second Christmas, because it was their first, so it was like right after his parents had left, after he got his appendix removed.
Yes,
that they moved into the new place, and so it was their first Christmas there. So technically their second Christmas together.
Yeah,
and then it like pushed forward from there. Like, they did a great job showing that, like, the issues that they were having, and I think that they did very well, like, kind of figuring out how to explain where the issues came from, and like where their separation came in part. Like, they didn't leave it up for, like, the imagination. It was just like, I feel like they very easily could have just gone, oh, boom, they're separated. It's like, okay, but why? Like, we didn't see these issues, like, but this did really well at sharing those sessions in therapy, like, with us.
They did, and I like how it kind of led into that, like, kind of with a joke, with them being eating dinner at the Christmas party, and then one of the guests was just like, oh, your love story is one for the ages. It's amazing what you guys have been able to create 13 years together. So I just hope that me and Sebastian can be as close as you guys have been for so long. And then freaking Kit just leans over to Sebastian. He's just like, oh, you haven't told him yet?
Oh, shit. Dude, that was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, awkward.
Yeah, and I love how it took that pause from the dinner to show what was going on.
Yeah.
And then just kind of gave us that background information, like gave us an insight to what their issues were and why they were separated and everything. So really appreciated that. And I appreciate that they were at a point where they were wanting to kind of work things out and grow, like come back together, and their illness or Kit's illness just kind of helped facilitate that better. And so like it was just so freaking how they pulled that off. So I don't know about you, but I'm like really high on this story.
I am too. The question is, how high are you?
I'm having a hard time talking myself out of the 90s. So I might be around 91.
I'm just gonna go point.
All right, moving on over to writing. This, I will say, I don't think this quite cracked 90 for me.
That's fair. I will say though, whoever decided to write that Michael has a Smurfs obsession, freaking hilarious. Like, I'm sure that's how it really happened. I mean, I don't know if if they
this
just
is
threw that in.
based off of this dude's actual life, so
That's true. I mean, he could have just added that in, just maybe as a joke, because like some people will put that in. Because I know like they'll say like based on a true story, but sometimes they'll like add stuff that didn't happen to like make it a little more fun. But I'm not saying it didn't happen. It might have actually happened. But the fact that he literally just has the biggest Smurf collection ever is freaking hilarious. And like Kit's just like taken aback from it for a minute. It's so great. I'm sure that's how people would feel if they saw my John Wayne Gacy collection. But a lot worse. I think he can justify Smurfs more than I can justify John Wayne Gacy, which I can justify it. I got nothing. I can't believe he has a huge statue though of Papa Smurf in his living room. Like, oh my god.
I just looked it up. Michael Ausiello, whose life the movie is based off, tells Today.com that he's slightly embarrassed to say he really did have all those Smurfs at the time, and still does. In fact, his collection has only grown.
Oh my god, I love you, man. That is fantastic.
Not only did I have a room full of Smurfs, but those were my Smurfs in the scene.
No shit.
That was my personal collection that was used in the movie, and it was only a fraction of the overall collection. My actual collection is probably 6 or 7 times what you saw.
Jeez Louise, dude.
So they drastically undersold what it actually was.
Dude, oh my god. I freaking love you, man. That is fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that is the best.
Well, now I want to see the whole collection. Like
I know, right?
you got to take pictures of this whole thing, man.
Holy!
I know you're not
shit.
listening, but if by chance you ever do, please, I got to see this entire collection.
Dude, this was hilarious. So apparently Hollywood under-dramatized his collection. Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, this guy has a writing credit in this movie.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I mean, I know personally, like, if I was doing a story off of my life, which my life's freaking boring as shit, so...
No, shut the hell up.
I mean, cinematically, it's probably not the most exciting thing.
We can make it, trust me. I got some ideas.
You got ideas for how my life played out?
Yep, I got ideas. I get the biggest chapter. I'm just gonna let you know right now. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but
Oh man. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, even though I'm saying the story or the writing is a little lower than the overall story, it doesn't mean that the writing was bad by any means. I did really appreciate that instead of typical narration that we get, which it's kind of like what it felt, but what it ended up being was Michael reading his eulogy or Kit's eulogy, and like that's what it like led into, or what the movie led into reading that, and so really like that. I think dialogue wise, it wasn't like very many issues. It was just
it all felt natural.
Oh yeah,
For what they
I
were
think
saying.
the only stuff that didn't was maybe like just their casual conversation or
Okay.
casual conversations that they were having with people.
Fair.
Like the one that's kind of standing out to me is when they were at that art gallery for Kit's friend, and they were talking about that black apple
Oh
painting
yeah.
or picture or whatever the hell it was. Yeah, I mean that dialogue got a little crazy, but
Fair enough.
again, wasn't too bad. I don't know about you, but like the scenes like that where people are like discussing art and what they think it means, I hate those people. Like I
that's
don't
fair.
I don't know if like I don't know anyone personally that like is into art like that.
The only art that I'm into is the art by John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, but it's like that art is pretty self-explanatory. It's just like
Fair.
he was just trying to make a quick buck. Like there's no secret meaning behind his
No, there's
his
not.
artwork, at least that we know of.
Yep.
But I couldn't ever be with someone that talked about art that way. Like I couldn't be about I went and bought this painting, like spent a redonkulous amount of money on this painting, just because like this is what it symbolizes, and I'm like, it's like blank. Like, dude, like legit, I found a video of someone talking about the meaning behind a painting that was just like white plaster on a canvas. And they're
Good
like,
lord.
yeah, I spent like at least 5 figures on this painting. I'm like, you got ripped off. I would have done it for you for like $20. Like art, or the high class art, is so freaking stupid.
Oh man. Dude, speaking of art, I was I saw like and I think Ryan had it at his no, he did. Yeah, he had it at his museum. But there's like a serial killer comic book that he has from like the 90s, and they were actually a straight up like reseller of John Wayne Gacy paintings. So like they had like literally they have an order form in the freaking comic book. So like you could choose between if you wanted his, Pogo or Patches or like one of his like 7 dwarves. Like you had like 10 paintings listed ranging from I think it was like $100 and up, but most were $9.99. Not $9.99. $99, sorry. And like all of them would include like a signed picture, and I'm just like, God, imagine being able to pay those prices where now you're lucky if you, I mean, considering that most paintings that you'll find of him, as I've been told, are fakes, which I have nothing, I have no reason not to believe, because yeah, Ryan Grayface literally has every single one of his paintings and he can track it back to how he acquired it. But just like looking at it and just being like, oh yeah, you could pay $100 for one of John Wayne Gacy's paintings. And it can be, like signed to you and you'll get a picture and everything. And I'm just like, damn, that'd be nice instead of, spending thousands of dollars on one.
Total side note, did you see that they're hiring?
Yeah, I did. And I wish I lived in Savannah, because you have no idea. I would be first to volunteer as tribute for that.
You can come live with me.
That's true. But I don't really have an excuse right now.
Yeah, you see how that feels? You son
Rude.
of a bitch.
I got one. Everything is really expensive right now, so I don't even know if I could afford to move. Can you give me that?
You don't have that much shit. We'll just pack it in your car.
Have you seen... Okay, I'm going to stop doing that.
Dude,
Have you seen... I know, we
bet
talked about
you.
this. We did. Talked about this when I was visiting, like a month ago. Not even... No, yeah, that's been a month.
I am willing to bet you that we could put everything in your car. You still have that car that you like picked me up in when I
Yeah, I still
came
have a
that one time,
Corolla.
right?
Yeah.
We can fit most,
Bet.
if not all, of your
Dude,
stuff in that car.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It will get squirrely, but we can do it.
I could fit all my John Wayne Gacy stuff in the car.
The only shit that I don't think that we could fit in the car with us is
My movies.
no. We could get a majority of your movies, like a really high majority. The only stuff is maybe like bed, like basically furniture items,
Okay.
which is
Now what-
fine. Like I'm
I could just repurchase that stuff in Georgia.
We'll freaking help you out. We'll freaking go build you a bed.
Now, what about my cat? That's the question.
Bring your cat. I don't give a shit.
Okay, all right.
Like, he's probably going to be crammed in between some boxes, but
Yeah, no, he is. Wow.
you can't have a cat loose in a car.
Still, that's my baby you're talking about, okay?
Okay, you can't have a cat loose in the car. I attempted that one time, and I almost died.
I don't know. You haven't met Alexander.
Do you drive with him on a regular basis?
I do, actually.
In the car?
Mhm.
And he does fine?
Just messing with.
Oh. It's like, you're a liar.
No,
Like,
he's
what-
only. I've always wanted to like take him out of his kennel and like see how he is in the car, but I just never have done it. No, he's only ever in a grooming appointment.
Yeah, I made that mistake once, and like I said, I almost died.
Shit, man.
Because I was just like, oh, my cat's super small. He doesn't, or they don't need a cage. And I was driving him to PetSmart for something, and it was like on my shoulder like the entire ride, and it was just like super cute. But then I turned in, and like I turned onto the main road that I needed to be on, and it jumped down, and I was like, oh crap, and I went to bend down and grab it, but it got startled by me and kind of like went to hide the only place that it could behind my freaking brake. And I was like, oh shit. Like,
oh fuck.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, because it was busy on the road, and I'm like, I am going to die. And luckily I was able to, like, Mr. Miyagi snatched the cat before I rear-ended someone. But yeah, mistakes were made. Anyway, we can make it happen.
It will happen.
Okay,
just
hey,
not
listen
right now.
to this.
What?
Listen to this.
What?
They're not even hiring immediately. They just want resumes on file.
All right, maybe I'll throw my hat into the that's not it. My name into their hat.
Dude, Dan, you're cool. At least find out what they're paying.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Anyway, getting back to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, writing, I'm having a hard time putting it any lower than a 90, so I think I'm just going to be at like a solid 90.
And you know what? I will match you on that.
All right, moving on over to acting. We have Michael Ausiello, who is played by Jim Parsons. We have Kit Cohen, who is played by Ben Aldridge. There wasn't really anyone else in this enough to credit. Okay, we'll talk about Kit's parents. So, Kit's mom, Marilyn, and his dad, Bob, were played by Sally Field and Bill Irwin, respectively. Anyone else that you think is like...
No, I got no one.
Yeah. Alright, so a top 3 is really hard for this one.
Fair. I mean, I can think of 3, but if you can't, we can do top 2. It's up to you.
I mean, we can do top 3. I'm pretty sure our top 3 is going to be the same, though.
Well, let's find out. Number 3 for me, go to Sally Field. She's literally amazing in everything she does, and this movie was no exception. She was nothing.
Dude, ain't that the truth?
Right? Dude, did you see her and Andrew Garfield's reunion at the SAG Awards?
No.
Oh my god, it's so cute. It's so sweet. I don't care what anyone says. To me, their dynamic for Aunt May and Peter is my favorite in all of the live action movies. I love their dynamic together.
100% agree.
Yes! One of the few that does. I was just like, no, it's Toby and I forget who played Aunt May. Don't get me wrong, both were good, but Sally Field and Andrew Garfield have such great chemistry together, and like they really feel like an aunt and nephew that, God, I love in those 2 movies. So yeah, number 3, Sally Field. 2, I would give to Ben Aldridge, played Kit.
Freaking told you our top 3 is the exact same.
Well, son of a bitch. Okay. Yeah, fantastic actor. I think this is the first movie I've seen him in. And I'm gonna have to find some more stuff he's in because goddamn, this guy can really act. Fantastic. And then yeah, I guess like Caleb said, our acting lists are the same. Our top 3 are the same. Jim Parsons. This is the first role that I have seen him play outside of Sheldon Cooper, and so this is a huge adjustment for me, for him not being annoying as fuck, but in a good way, because I actually love Sheldon. But God, he hit all the dramatic beats that he needed to hit. He was just so likable, just such a great performance. I loved him in this movie. So yeah, that's my top 3, and apparently Caleb's as well.
Oh yeah. Did you not see oh balls, what was it? Hidden Figures?
Oh, he was in that?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
He was kind of like the second in command in NASA.
Oh yeah, shit, you're right.
Yeah, so live action wise, like that's the only thing that I've seen him in. This is kind of interesting. He played a character named Caleb in iCarly.
Oh my god, speaking of iCarly, I totally forgot that this was a thing, or this was an episode, but like someone captioned on TikTok, the more I get older, the more I get older, the more I relate to this teacher. Have you seen the episode where the teacher, one of Carly's teachers is on the board, and he's just like, "Okay, class, I need you to do numbers 7 and 9." And Carly raises her hand. She's like, "What about 8?" And he just straight up in the whiniest voice just is like, "I'm in charge."
Dude, that show's a gem.
It is. I love that show. Just he's so whiny about it, but that just makes it so funny.
But yeah, looking at his the rest of his IMDb, that's like the only other thing that I've seen him in.
Well, I hope he gets more, because guy can really act. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor. I unfortunately I think he's in like that weird space right now in his career where I can only see him as Sheldon,
Yeah, that's fair.
which is the same issue I had with Daniel Radcliffe, where anything that he played, I'm like, this is weird because like all I see is Harry Potter. But I think we've finally gotten to a point in his career where I can look at him as someone else.
Have you seen like anyone commenting on how like do you watch Young Sheldon, or have you seen any of it?
Oh yeah, I'm all caught up on it.
Oh shit, okay, I'm so behind. Maybe I brought this up to you, but I find it funny with how much Ian Armitage is going through puberty, and his voice is changing.
Yeah, with his voice being deeper.
Yeah, his voice is his voice is actually deeper than the guy that plays the adult version of it.
Yeah, you can tell that he tries really hard to kind of keep it higher pitched, but
Yeah,
it's hard because like he has to match the tone too, and I think he's just nailed the tone, and it's rough.
It is, but I can look past it because I think he was so perfectly cast as young Sheldon.
Oh yeah, that kid's gonna have issues too. Like eventually, if he like depending on how long young Sheldon continues, I think he's gonna have a similar issue where it's like, oh, we only see him as young Sheldon.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I'm trying to just check real quick, see what. Oh yeah, Ian Armitage hasn't been in a whole lot. Anyway, so yeah, my top 3 is exactly the same as yours. Exact same reasons too.
Yeah.
So where are you sitting for your acting score?
Acting, I think I'm going to be in between my writing and story, so I'm going to go at 91.
I think I'm leaning more towards my writing score for that. Like the extras were all good, and the only reason I'm docking is for the extras. The main cast was incredible.
True that.
So yeah, I'm gonna sit at a 90 with acting. Moving on over to character development. I think this one was pretty cut and dry. Like I did this based off of Michael.
Oh yeah, same here.
And his growth. So I mean, from the beginning of the movie, like you kind of get this sense that he has like levels of insecurity. Mainly because we find out that he was what was the term he said? An FFK. And as soon as he said that, I knew exactly what that stood for. Like, how long did it take you to figure it out?
It took me a minute.
Oh, I knew immediately.
Is it because I was one? That was a horrible joke.
Yeah, so you get to see him struggle with that before him and Kit are able to be intimate. Then we get to see his growth in the relationship that he has with Kit as well, where we get to see them struggle with Kit not being out, and I mean their intimacy has grown, but Kit still isn't out, and that's like a big moment of conflict for them. So, like, seeing how they have to deal with that, where Michael has to hide all of, like, or de-gay Kit's room, which was hilarious. Same with his wardrobe and everything. And it was so funny watching Kit's roommate, Kirby, kind of work alongside Michael, because it's like, it seems like she's been through this before.
Yeah, it did. It was just freaking hilarious. Loved it.
Yeah, so that was really fun. But I mean, you see that moment of growth with them, or between them, once Kit finally does come out to his parents, and it's interesting now to like that I don't know about you, but my TikTok feed is full of like different therapists uh reactions and like signs that you like things that you struggled with, or maybe that like are a trauma of your childhood. And like whenever you go to like admit things or like confess things to your parents, where it'd just be like, oh, I just must be a horrible parent for you to not have told me this, or like trusting me with this, or blah blah blah. Like I noticed that immediately with Kit's mom, and I was just like, issues. And I only recognize that because I have issues like that. I'm like, I get it, bro. But yeah, like really, really liked like Kit's story, like just like them growing together as a family, and then cutting to like later in their relationship, seeing the decline of their relationship, and showing like they like how the therapist stated where they're resentful of each other for whatever reason. Maybe how the other has changed or whatnot, but how it's put them in a low point where their relationship is borderline unhealthy for them. And maybe like that separation is something that they need from each other and all that. But it's interesting because before they take that, you get to see the insecurities that Michael's going through, thinking that Kit is sleeping with his coworker Sebastian, which eventually turns up that he does, or he did.
Yeah.
Which freaking another like heartbreaking conversation, and just
Dude, seriously.
that one was the one that kind of struck me the most, because it's just kind of like it's like that was their moment of having like dying confessions, where Michael asked Kit just straight up like, were you having sex with Sebastian? And Kit's just, yeah. And you could tell Michael wasn't like shocked or anything. It was just kind of confirming what he already knew.
Yeah.
And he was able to just kind of like, you could see it took him a second, but then like immediately he let it go.
Yeah.
Because I think it was just in that moment he realizes just how insignificant that fact is. And just because what Kit was going through, and it's like it's hard, like just like sharing like that whole, like they just portrayed people that love each other so well, where it's just like, I think what Kit recognized was that Michael wasn't asking out of jealousy. It was out of curiosity, if anything.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Or
put
just like just to confirm something, and it wasn't like jealousy that he was asking. It was just like, I need this closure before you go.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just powerful how open he was able to be. And
Yeah. No.
yeah,
Awesome.
so I just loved their whole story, and like Michael's interpretation of his life, where he's living like this sitcom life in his brain, is really cool. So, so what are you thinking for character development?
I don't know. It was a very strong character development. I agree with everything that you said. I especially love the part towards the ending with how, speaking of like the whole sitcom thing, where it cuts to literally him, as if it's a soap opera, him like right after it ends, him just getting up and like walking into the break room, and Michael, is asking him some questions, asking Kit some questions, and he's just like, so what do I do now? Like, what do I do without you? And he's just like, you're gonna have to figure that out yourself. And I think that also is a very good character moment. Just definitely agree with everything Caleb said about Michael. So for character development, I'd say I'm at a solid 90.
This might be the one place that I'm harshest on this.
Okay.
Like, again, it was a really well done story. Like, obviously it's based off of real life and just the growth that he went through in those years being with Kit. So I think my issue character development wise was just the way that they portrayed it. So with that, I think I was gonna be at an 88, but I think, like, for what you said about it, bumped me up a little bit, so I'm gonna be at like an 89. All right, next up we got effects, which for this wasn't really, there was absolutely no special effects.
No.
So this was just more cinematography and all that.
Fantastic. Camera
It
work
was beautifully shot.
Good in this movie. Especially the scenes where they're at the Kit's parents' house, and like when it's Michael and Kit's mom about to go on a run. Pulled out wide shot, I think is what it's called, of like the sunrise. Just love that. Looks so beautiful.
Oh yeah, dude. Some of my favorite things that they did was anytime they took a picture or anytime Kit took a picture, it would show the picture.
Yeah, I love that
and
too.
then how the world looked in reality and everything. It was just so interesting, and this kind of has something to do with acting too. But I really liked how this was shot when they were they had just gotten the diagnosis that had spread to his brain, and that he had a few weeks, was it?
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Yeah, he had 6 weeks, and they're in that restaurant, and Kit takes a couple pictures of Michael, and then and then when Michael takes the camera and takes a few pictures of Kit, like those pictures, like Jim Parsons and Ben Aldridge knocked it out of the freaking park with their expressions. Yeah. Like, their expressions were heartbreaking, dude. Like, you could tell, like, the first one was just kind of like fake smile, and then it's just slow realization of just kind of you could, like, see them absorbing what they were just told. And how rough that was for them. And it was just excellently shot. And then the sitcom stuff, it like, the sitcom thing was interesting because I liked how it just kind of started off lighthearted, but just slowly got to a point where it was just like borderline dark.
Yeah. Isn't the final one that we get of the sitcom is when he comes home and he's asking for his mom?
Yeah, she's calling, and then he just sits down and watches the soap opera by himself.
Yeah.
Like,
Jesus.
Yeah, like, there's so much, like, subcontext to take from those scenes. It just cuts you deep.
Dude, straight up.
So, I mean, the cinematography here was just, for this, though, I think we're going to be at, like, an 87.
I think that like, just one shot for me just, like, boosted me up just a...
Alright, next up we got music.
It was good. Nothing to write home about.
Yeah. Trying to see if I can find the soundtrack. But yeah, the soundtrack wasn't anything to write home about. Like, there were a couple songs like when they were at the bar that were decent.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was a fairly average soundtrack. I'm like at a 6 or a 7. Like,
I'm honestly at a 6.
6? I can give you 6. Costumes, I might be a little bit higher.
You're at a 7?
Damn it, 7 seems high. It was just daily clothes. So
yeah,
Nothing
6?
too special cost. Yeah, I'm giving it a 6, unfortunately. All right, last up, we got our own personal score.
Do you want me to take this one since you're signing us off?
Yeah.
Okay. So, overall, I freaking loved this movie. This is such a great love story. I loved every minute of it. Jim Parsons and Ben Aldridge, amazing chemistry together. I have nothing but greatness to say about those two. And honestly, the supporting cast is great too. I have very little bad to say about this movie. I wanted a great love story, and I got that, and I'm very satisfied with it. So for me, I'm gonna go at 92.
Yeah, this was just a beautiful love story, and I'm just a sucker for a good romantic film. And like I said, there wasn't a whole lot to dislike about this movie, if anything. Like, it kind of had everything you want. It had like little bits of comedy in there, like when Michael brings Kit to his place and it's nothing but Smurfs. So that was funny, and it was just heartwarming. And like I said, it hit me on an emotional level, and I don't think there's a lot of movies that can do that. I mean, I say that, but I could probably list 10 like off the top of my head. But yeah, this one, it just hits different. And I like I said with Bros, this is I hope to hear and see more stories like this in the future. Like, there are some great stories that have not, like, great love stories that have not been told because of the nature of them or who they're between. So, just because of that, I think I'm going to be with you, Rose. I'm sitting at a 92 as well. Yeah. So with so starting off with story, we are sitting at a very strong 91.5. Our writing averaged out to a 90. Acting averaged out to a 90.5. Character development sitting at an 89.5. So all four of those categories were really close. The effects are sitting at an 87.5. So that was probably the lowest category that we are close to out of the initial 5. Unfortunately, music and costumes were fairly average. Both ended up scoring a 6, and our personal score averaged to a 92. So with that, the final All Bros letter grade for Spoiler Alert has come to a B+.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so freaking good. It's on the weaker side in terms of B pluses. Like we said, it isn't the score itself is the most important thing. B plus could absolutely agree with a B plus.
Yeah, me too.
Getting into its percentage though, Spoiler Alert ended up scoring an 86.37. So that ended up putting it above Captain Marvel and Sing 2, which are both at an 86.25. It put it above Spider-Man Homecoming, which is at an 86.22. It's above Nightmare on Elm Street, which is at an 86.12. And then finally, it was above Mr. Peabody and Sherman, which is at an 86.06. Going the opposite direction, it puts it below Black Adam, which is at an 86.5. Puts it below the Lego Movie 2, which is at an 86.5 as well. It is below the Lovebirds, which is at an 86.54. It's below Scream 2022, which is at an 86.56. And then finally, it is below Frozen 2, which is at an 86.59.
All right, not bad. Good
Yeah,
placement.
not bad at all. Yeah, I think it has really good placement. Yeah. Like, there's justification for why some of these movies, like, I think quality-wise, it is well above Black Adam. But where Black Adam ended up scoring higher was in costumes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's where, like, I think it had the costumes been better, or just maybe the soundtrack a little bit better, I think this would have bumped it above Black Adam easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, not upset with his placement at all. So unless you got anything else to say about this movie, pretty sure we can wrap this up.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Alrighty, well, if you like this episode, want to check out more of our stuff, be sure to follow and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to follow and subscribe on social media as well. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at the All Bros. You can also check out our website where you can find links to everything that we do. That would be at the tinyurl.com or tinyurl.com/the All Bros. So with that, next week, you guys can look forward to us breaking down Creed 3. So that should be an exciting one. We have not seen the first two, but we are going to attempt and binge them this week.
So I feel it's going to be very interesting to me because I haven't seen any of the Rocky movies either.
I've only seen Rocky Balboa, and that is it.
Okay, so we're basically on the same page here. Cool. So this is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. So, with that, this has been the All Bros podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan. Why are you saying it?
Wait, am I missing it something? I feel like I'm missing something.
No, you were just saying that like so like.
I know, but it's because I was trying to think if I was missing something.
Oh. I got very confused.
Anyway, this has been the All Bros podcast, and we will catch you guys next week. Deuces.
So long.